better as a result of social media presence.
If it doesn't do those three things, then it's on the chopping block.
It's a return on investment discussion.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Daily Dealer Live. I stumbled over my words there. Welcome everybody. This is the space where all automotive comes together to join, to learn, to grow, to share ideas with each other. Thank you for joining us today. We know you've got a choice about how to spend your time on this Wednesday afternoon, November 5th, whether you're a dealer, a vendor, or someone just passionate about where automotive's headed, you are in the right place. Let's jump into it. First up today in the news, Michigan regulators have suspended the dealer license of LaFontaine Chevrolet Buick GMC of St. Clair, accusing the store of selling more than 24 vehicles used as new. The state first flagged this practice with the dealership over a year ago. The store has issued a fine and placed on probation for 18 months. However, during a recent investigation this past September, state regulators claimed that LaFontaine Chevrolet Buick GMC was again in violation of this rule. In a statement, LaFontaine said the situation was due to a clerical error tied to Michigan's outdated titling laws. The group says the rules conflict with automaker programs that treat loaner or rental cars as new and eligible for full incentives and warranties, something that's allowed in most other states. What's the kicker here? LaFontaine Hyundai of Livonia, another Michigan dealership, was suspended for one day last December, and they were fined $25,000 for the same issue at that point. So I know the LaFontaine Group is a personal side note and editorial. Good folks, great operation. Would love to have them on the show to provide their counterpoint to this news. Twice in a year is odd at best. So next up today, a new report says dealers are leaving serious money on the table because of mismatched payment quotes, otherwise known as the gap between the monthly payments initially quoted to customers and the monthly payments that lenders actually approve. According to Eland Solutions, more than 80% of dealers say lender-approved payments usually come back higher than the initial quote, and those mismatches are costing the average store more than an estimated $500,000 per year. That's a lot. Excuse me. Roughly split between lost vehicle sales and missed F&I revenue. At scale, that's a $4.7 billion hole across franchise dealers nationwide. Bottom line here, in a market where affordability is already the number one reason buyers pause, every small payment discrepancy can compound over time. Turning now to a big product update from Stellantis CEO Antonio Filosa. During a recent briefing with Wall Street analysts, Filosa shared that Ram will have a, quote, much more comprehensive product range by adding a Michigan-made SUV to its lineup and will debut besides the Dakota midsize pickup in 2028. The SUV will include an internal combustion engine, ICE, as well as an extended range electric vehicle, EREV variant. For dealers, it's likely a small, overdue move to keep the brand competitive by building what customers actually want right now, but only time will tell if it actually materializes. And finally, up today, Ally Financial is trimming its workforce again by cutting about 2% of its roughly 10,000 employees, mostly at the manager level and above. In an email to staff obtained by CDG News, CEO Michael Rhodes described the move as a restructuring effort to simplify reporting lines and, quote, free up resources for growth and innovation. Impacted employees will continue to receive full pay and benefits through early January, along with job placement and career counseling support. Big picture, this is Ally's second round of cuts this year, following a similar reduction back in January, which suggests the lender is tightening up for a tougher economic stretch, like many others right now. And that is a wrap on today's industry news. Yuli, welcome back to the show, man. It's good to have you back.
It's excellent to be here as always.
So I'm fascinated as we hear about Ally trimming up a little bit. Is it AI driven? Is it tech driven, the need for a smaller headcount, or is it a canary in the coal mine for things that are coming up in the, economic space? I don't know.
Is it bad to say it's one of those wait and sees? Because I think any one of those roads is plausible.
Yeah, could be. All right. For everybody joining our live stream, we're live across, as we always are, across all CDG social media platforms. Post those comments. We'll bring them into today's show. And what a show we've got for you today. We'd love to hear as you shout out in the comments too. Where are you listening from? What are you doing right now? And what are you doing on this 5th day of November? Whether you're at the desk, whether you're desking deals, training, whatever you're doing, we'd love to hear from our loyal listening audience. But first up, let's jump into the owner of Findlay, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Cable Darrow. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Cable.
How's it going, guys?
Cable, it's good to have you here with us. Thanks for being here. So, hey, before we dive into the topic you came and joined us with today, tell us a little bit about yourself and answer the question we ask everybody here. How's biz, Cable?
It's we had a record month last month. First best month we've had in about COVID month, really. Mainly used car store. We did I think last month we did 203 used, 21 new. So our new cars have struggled for a while. It's become a focus now, so we're getting there.
Yeah. And you're in Ohio, so you're Stellantis in Ohio, and you're finding ways to win in used right now. Yeah. So we invited you on because you posted out into the world an interesting post that gave some insight into condition reports. Tell us a little bit about what you saw, what you noted, and why does it matter? Talk to us about your post.
I mean, my experience, it's and I don't do this to say that, but just based on our experience that we've had, we're running into a lot of discrepancy. I've got cars I'm buying that are 5.0s, and we're checking them back in. We're getting them home. We're checking them in. They're not 5.0s, and we check them back in at the auction, and they're 3.5s. We do a little more research into that, and it's there's favorable sellers, and it's just been difficult. It's difficult throughout the auction industry. It's hard enough to buy the cars. It's hard enough to absorb the fees, and then to get terrible service. It's no fun. They've taken the fun out of it.
So let's talk about in Ohio. Why does it matter that the condition report matches its actual condition? You buy something, you put a dollar amount on it, it comes to you, it's not the right condition. That matters because it impacts what you're going to pay for it, how quickly you'd buy it, and what you're able to retail it for, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're fairly high volume, and, I don't want to buy, I wouldn't buy the 3.5. It's turn. It makes it very difficult. And then you're chasing your money back. It's, you got $1 million in cars that are, non-sellable, and then you're chasing, you're chasing your money, and it's just frustrating. And it gets old.
So, Cable, we talk often on the show about what's the best source of used car inventory in today's marketplace. So you sell more used than new. What's the number one source for you for that ideal, perfect used car?
I would say, 75% of our inventory is out of Canada. Okay. We're kind of in that hub, that Midwestern hub. There's, a couple different ports.
So Cable,
out of Canada.
That goes back and forth. Sometimes it's good to import from Canada. Sometimes economically it doesn't make sense. For our viewing audience that may not be aware, what is it about right now that makes those Canadian vehicles more appealing to you in Ohio?
I don't know if it's appealing as much as it is its availability. I mean, where we're at, there's just not enough vehicles out there. They're just not out there to buy. If I had to buy all American cars, we'd barely have any cars in stock. I think it's just supply and demand more than it is. It's what's out there in this area anyways.
Is it a tough process to bring a vehicle across border for you? Like, do you have to go through quite a checklist? That kind of goes to a good CR report.
I mean, if you're buying that car at the auction, if you're buying it at the sale, it's bonded, the titling's done, everything's done. Yeah. So that part's pretty easy. There's some gut. If you're buying direct, there's some hold times. There's a 30-day hold. Some other hoops you have to jump through, but it's fairly. They've got everything figured out for the most part.
Yeah. All right. So walk me through this. You said in your post that it's Detroit and Flint where you're seeing the discrepancy the most. Do you have a way to appeal the condition report once you get it and get it corrected? And is it a lengthy process?
You file an arbitration claim and it takes 2 weeks for them to get back to you.
Okay. And then eventually do you get a response or no?
You'll get a response that, the the condition report is not a buyback program. I mean, they'll offer you an adjustment, possibly sometimes it's just pound sand.
Interesting.
It's just frustrating. It's super frustrating.
So why do you think the number is wrong? Like, what's the benefit of the seller? I mean, obviously there's a benefit of the seller to put the wrong number in, but what's the benefit of the process or the system to allow that incorrect number to go all the way through? Do you think it's just an oversight? Do you think it's intentional? Do you think it's preference for a particular seller?
I think the high volume sellers have been allowed to write their own ticket.
Okay.
You know, we have multiple instances of cars that are anywhere from 2 points to half a point adjusted. I mean, there's clearly some favoritism and some control by the sellers, and I'm okay with that. Just tell me that. Say,
yeah.
You know, but if you get caught with it, take care of it.
So have you calculated what the incorrect number on the inventory you've been purchasing? How many vehicles would you say are impacted? And then what do you think the financial impact is overall of the incorrect CR?
I mean, I would say it depends on who you're buying the car from.
Yeah.
That has the biggest discrepancies.
What's your bread and butter car in your market right now? Like, what's your average transaction price?
2 to 3 year old trucks and SUVs.
Okay, you
have fairly higher end. Yeah, I mean, I think my average cost right now is about $40,000 a unit. So all in, we buy and sell a lot of $60,000 to $80,000 vehicles. I would say that's kind of our sweet spot as far as our volume stuff is a higher dollar stuff. And you buy a 25 Escalade for $100,000 and you get it back, and it's been hit by a train, and then it's just that's the difficult one.
So Yoga Cars asks the question online: are the issues always from the same seller? Or are there different sellers that are seeing this impact?
You could say that.
Consistent.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's clearly a issue, and you hate to say it sometimes because you don't want the backlash either, but it's to the point where I've just we're finding different channels to buy the cars. Yeah. Direct from the sellers, direct from some sellers, skipping the auction process completely and just building relationships with individual sellers. We found out that's the best way to combat it.
So is it a Canada issue? Is it a network issue? Is it just a supply demand issue, in your opinion?
I mean, it's the better the report, the more money the car brings.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty.
So it's a fascinating problem in today's world. There are not enough used cars to go around, and many would project that problem will continue. We've got potential chip shortages. We've got some production issues from new car manufacturers. Some of the smartest people that you would talk to today are going to say, hey, you're going to see used car prices gently escalate over the next 6 months, let's say. And so if that's true, finding that great used car is going to become a huge battle in the coming days. And I think auctions, brick and mortar and online, are scrambling to get as many vehicles as they can inside the auction. What advice would you give to these auctions, both physical and virtual, regarding accurate condition reporting?
I think they have to. Accuracy is the thing. I think it's tough. I think it's a tough pill for them to have to swallow. But I can't imagine I'm the only guy that gets that thinks one thing and you get another. You get it back here.
Yeah. So Dan C in the comments says, "Are you?" Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, you're fine.
Dan C in the comments says, are you buying these vehicles remotely, or do you have a buyer on site who could review the actual condition versus relying on a CR?
I would say 90% of ours are bought virtual. Yeah, I mean, they're simulcast.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yuli, what's been your experience? Do you have some appeal? Can you go back if you buy a vehicle and it's the incorrect CR, you dispute it? What's my
what he said
path to appeal that?
What he said is accurate. I mean, if you get something that's misrepresented, mechanically, or has some issues. There's some limited clawback, but I think, I mean, first of all, you're doing high volume used vehicle sales. I mean, 200 plus used vehicles is awesome. You know, most dealerships would love to be at 200 plus. So when you're in and buying the vehicles at that scale, if you have to slow down, I don't know what your mix is, but if you have to slow down for 10%, 20%, 30%, I mean, you can fill in the dots there. That's a tremendous amount of momentum lost and, you know, frozen capital just sitting there. So it makes sense. I mean, I think that points to a larger issue at the auction level, right? If you're allowing them to score their own cheese, and they're consistently doing that, I mean, there should be something in the back that could, you know, be at least punitive for the seller, or maybe put someone on someone's eyes on there.
So Yuli, does the auction write the CR, or is it the seller? It
No,
seems
I
like
guess
if it's the seller,
in this
it's like
case, based off of the volume, it sounds like they're allowing the seller to write the CRs. I mean, in my experience, it's always been, allowing them to adjust them. Because in mine, they would always check them in. If we shipped the car to auction, they would check them in and they would score the car, irregardless of what I scored the car for.
Yeah, the same thing. That's the same way with me. But you know, I understand the high volume where they need the cars. You know what I mean? And you get it. It's just, I feel like it would be nice if, okay, you got caught, pay me the money back and let's move on.
No.
You know?
And again, it would be bad enough if it was a couple, but if you're doing the volume that you're doing, I mean, there should be someone in your corner fighting for you.
For sure.
So Yuli, AW Hitton 24 online is disputing a little bit what you're saying in terms of who writes that CR. He says, look, we're one of the largest sellers of Canadian vehicles. The auction in this case, they say Manheim writes all our CRs. He says, he goes on to say, some sellers write their own, not all. So I guess it's, he first said it's the auction, and then he said sometimes the seller.
And I will, I don't know. I don't know who A Witten is, but I know a different Witten that I'm assuming it's the same group, you know, and there's relationships you have with them. They've been great. If I call John, he takes care of it. I mean, it's, there's other ones that it's like fighting tooth and nail.
All right. So give us a solution. You've identified a problem. You've identified how much money it costs. You've identified the impact to your business, not to mention just the headache nightmare. What would you want to see from auctions and sellers to help guarantee that CR, or to help you buy with more confidence?
I mean, it's accuracy. It's, you know, you can't, the car is what it is. If I buy the car at a 5.0 and I check it in 3 days later at a 3.5.
Yeah, it was never a 5.0. You need someone on the ground.
There's either a gift card in the mailbox for the CR writer, or there's it's the car business. I think we all understand that. Yeah, there's things that happen.
Well, we appreciate you sharing this with us. We appreciate you bringing this to light and creating a conversation out of it. It's amazing. You know, the comment section is alight with different comments and feedback, because truly in today's economy, buying that great used car is job number one. Like, we have got to be able to buy it. You got to buy it right. And then obviously time to front line, time, you know, days to actually selling that matter a ton, but finding a place where you can have that confidence to buy, you know, it's a huge challenge. So transition a little bit with us, Cable, because we didn't get to know you a lot. We brought you on because of the post. Tell us a little bit about what's something you're working on right now, aside from the CR issue in your business. What are you working on?
Struggled a little bit in the last 12 to 18 months as far as getting our volume back up. We've really increased inventory lately. I mean, that's been the biggest thing, is trying to increase inventory, and it's starting now to, you know, we're starting to benefit for some of that. We're trying to keep the turn going, trying to, you know, just create smoother processes to keep.
What's your turn
moving
now?
Fast. We're probably about 9 to 10. You know, we want to get to 12
for sure.
And it's tough though, especially nothing ever runs perfectly. And you're always going to have a car that's cogs the system down a little bit. But I think right now we're about 7.7 days time to lot. So just tweaking basically everything we're trying to get done right now.
Yeah. Well, Cable Darrow, owner of Findlay, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Thanks for joining the Car Dealership Guy Daily Dealer live stream today. We appreciate you being on.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for sharing your perspectives. interesting challenge, right? Like if you allow the seller
frustrating.
to write their own CR, that's a challenge because then,
Mhm.
how do you appeal that? If the auction does, there's got to be some way. It'd be fascinating and it would be super fun to hear how other dealers are dealing with those. And again, I'm not sure it's the auction fault. I'm not sure it's the seller's fault. The challenge is in today's marketplace, there's a lot of competition and pressure to buy that perfect car. And yeah,
Yeah, we'd have to
interesting.
find out, who's grading the car. Are they working for the auction? Or are they direct rep for the seller? It would
Yeah,
be interesting,
yeah,
especially with those higher volume guys.
yeah. All right. We're gonna turn and I kid you not, the timing of this is just coincidental, at least as far as I know. I just get the script. But let's talk CR Stream. Hey dealers. I mean, this is too good. Hey dealers, put the power of multiple auctions in your hand. Use CR Stream to sell vehicles on multiple online auctions fast. You only pay a $150 flat sell fee to the auction. That's it. Register at crstream.com today. Click the QR code for more information there. And you got to be kidding me. We were just talking about condition reports, CR. I'd be curious how they come up with their number there.
Maybe avoid some headaches.
Yeah, yeah. And then let's talk. And so props to CR Stream for supporting today's content, including the conversation we just had there. And obviously, Yuli, we've talked a lot about the NADA party. For anybody looking to join us in Vegas on February 5th, the Car Dealership Guy party is the hottest ticket at NADA 2026 with special guests and top automotive personalities. To be considered for a formal invite, just hit the link in the show notes, request to join, and fill out a questionnaire. Spots are limited, and unfortunately, we can't invite everyone. Wish we could.
Mhm.
But to come have the coolest conversations at all of NADA, meet some of the best people, RSVP today, and we'll hope to see you in Vegas. So, and then a couple of other comments in the stream here from Robert F. What about a universal CR without human subjectivity? That's something that AI could solve for. I love that. So that would be
What
super, super fun. So
what's that machine? I can't remember the name right now. That you drive the car through and it points out all
UVI,
the blemishes.
UVI,
UVI. That's it.
UVI is
Yeah.
a product. So
Yeah.
GM is
Yeah.
partnered with UVI, and
Mhm.
they also offer in individual stores. So yeah. All right. Next up, let's go to Will Holleman, automotive sales at Equifax. Will, welcome to the show.
Will.
Hey, how is everybody? Thank you for having me on, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, Will. So, hey, tell us, how's biz? What is your biz? And tell us a little bit about yourself as part of that, Will.
Yeah, so we'll start off with a little bit about myself, get that out of the way. I got into the car business because of love. My girlfriend in college, her family owns a handful of car dealerships here in St. Louis. I didn't grow up thinking I would be in the auto business, but here we are, 15 years strong. And so the Dave Sinclair dealership here in the St. Louis area has got a strong brand, strong recognition. Her grandfather built these dealerships here in St. Louis. Still very family-run businesses. My sister-in-law is the GM for the Lincoln stores. Cousin-in-law Tommy's running the Ford store, and I'm still very close to that. So I just decided to take a different path and get in the 9-to-5 job. That first Saturday off where I didn't have to go into work was kind of different. But I've been at Equifax almost 10 years now, and run a sales team here where, shout out to Jennifer, Jason, Jody, and Brian. We work with all kinds of auto lenders, from subprimes to captives to big banks to buy here, pay here's, and we sell income and employment verification data.
Oh, interesting. Income and employment verification data. So it's interesting. How much more of a frequency of employment and income fraud have you seen as payments escalate and as we've kind of gone into this weird economy? Do you have any stats on that?
Right. Yeah. There's that natural inhibition to bump up that gross income on the credit application in this day and age as everything gets more expensive. One of the studies that we've done shows that, and this is wild, it might not surprise a lot of people in the auto industry or have been around the industry, that income is misrepresented quite frequently on the apps for credit, but 52% of all income that we see stated income is misrepresented by 20% or more.
Wow.
That's not just the understating, but overstating as well. And so,
Who is
like I said,
who is misrepresenting Will in your experience?
yeah,
Is it
you know,
consumer misstatement? Is it employee misstatement? What is it?
I think it's a little bit of both. There'd be a lot of everyday Americans that, if you press them on how much do you make every month, they might not know the answer to that.
Unless they're in the car
You know,
biz.
right, right. And you know it down to a T, and you can do the math and say, this is how much I make a week, times that by 4.3, and, you got your monthly. And I was in the front of the house. And so I think it really depends. We had a really reputable business. So we didn't see a lot of that. But, obviously there's some bad actors that are all over the place, whether they're the people that come into the dealership with fake paycheck stubs that they made through AI, or whether you have, hopefully, it's just a rogue F&I guy that is, bumping up the monthly income because he understands the deal structure and understands what it takes to get bought. I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot more consumer pushing and fraud as incomes are challenged right now, and as payment affordability is a huge challenge. What tips would you give to a dealer, to a finance manager, to a GM, things to look for to make sure that it's accurate as they put it on that credit, or as the consumer puts it on the credit application, and as they send it across to the lender? What should we be watching out for? What are red flags?
Yeah, and so really the F&I person at the dealership is the first line of defense. And with a strong dealer principal, with strong GSMs and GMs, you have to build a culture inside of your dealership, a culture of integrity. And there's all kinds of tools out there. There's obviously our income and employment verification product that we sell. But, I say the more data that you bring in to the consumer experience, it might be counterintuitive to think that that's going to speed things up, but it's actually going to make things more secure in the long run. So, dealers can be hesitant sometimes to bring in more data, can be hesitant to spend on that, but it's becoming ever more important because of the ramifications on the back end from lenders. If you get that wrong in the F&I office, there could be a pretty big check coming out of your monthly that you have to stroke for a buyback or a car gone.
So how does your technology verify that income, Will?
Yeah, so we have the Work Number database is an income and employment. It's the largest income and employment database. It's instant. We have over 4 million employers that report to our database, close to 200 million active employment records. And so we partner with employers. We partner with payroll providers to get that information. And really it serves our goal, which is to help people live their financial best. And so, we're able to share the income and employment information with lenders, not just in the auto business, but, mortgage business, personal loans, credit cards, to help people who may not have access to credit, prove themselves as being worthy to buy. So, we have all kinds of information, hundreds of millions of income and employment records that we're able to share, not just in the consumer lending space, like I said, but, it helps people qualify for government programs. We try to do a lot of good with the information that we have.
So I got a question. In this highly competitive lending environment, like banks want to make a great decision. They want to make an accurate decision. Auto groups, we want the right decision, the accurate decision. To your point, if it's not accurate, it's going to come back, right? Nobody wants that. With all the technology that's out there, why don't most lenders just implement this technology as part of their underwriting process? In fact, I'm curious, two things: the income piece, but then also the vehicle valuation piece. Technology would make that so easy, Will.
Yeah, I can address from a lender standpoint the income and employment. We had an auto roundtable where we take some of our biggest and best clients, and we get the voice of customer. That's how we do things around here. When we're building product, when we're looking to develop strategy, we want to hear from them. And we had this about a month ago, and the biggest word that came to mind when we heard all their feedback was balance. It's the balance of when to apply that friction, when to verify income and employment.
Wait.
You know,
How's that balance?
well, you obviously want to, and this plays a big role with fraud, but you want to make sure that you're verifying income and employment on the right people. You want to make sure you're, putting that friction in where it needs to be on those right people, while not, displacing those people that want to go through that process very seamlessly. Because, nowadays with the ability to apply for credit, buy a car over the phone, there's a lot less tolerance from the consumer on friction in general.
So how frictious, that's not a word. How friction based is employment income verification? Is it a database where that data just resides and it's a simple pull, or are you actually calling the employer and doing a voice call as part of the check?
No, actually, it used to be a voice call probably 30 years ago, where you would call up and get a verification from a hotline. These days, we have APIs into all kinds of payroll providers and employers, so it's instantaneous. And we have.
How's that friction?
We don't. Unfortunately, we can't answer that for everybody. There's a lot of times where you're self-employed or there's W-2 workers. And it's harder to verify income on lots of those folks. And what we're seeing a lot is that people have second jobs now, second and third jobs. And so, we may not have answers for all of those jobs on our database.
Well, I'm going to give you my take. All right.
Yeah.
So as an auto group, we want to do business with, it's in everybody's best interest to have that income validate out. It's going to uncover fraud as fast as you possibly can. And I don't buy the friction argument. I think the sooner you find that out, the less time you spend chasing your tail on something that's not going to be accurate. I would be fascinated to see what the comments in the online say about that. Is there really a good reason for a lender as part of the underwriting process, or us as part of our submission, to not uncover early and quickly? Because to your point, if it's not a voice call, if it's an API dial-up, that's automated, right? That's not a tough process, Will.
Right. No. And so what we see from most all of our lenders is that, we have a lot of lenders that are making a decision that's 100% automated, comes back with a call. That call's conditioned approval. We want to see income and employment. A lot of times those lenders go right to our API and hit that, so that an F&I manager sitting in the office doesn't even see that conditional approval. They just see a check mark because income cleared out with the work number database, and so they see good news coming back, as opposed to that dreaded red X, or having to go get a paycheck stub or a W-2 from somebody.
All right, so let's back up off of that. Go ahead.
No, we do have lots of lenders that implement our product in that process. And a lot of times it's the dealer that doesn't even see that come through. It's most of those times whenever we're unable to provide an answer, that, some of that manual process that we hate so much at the dealerships comes into play.
So let me ask you this, based on your experience there, how do you see the relationship between a dealer and a lender evolving over the next several years? How will automation and some of the AI things help prevent fraud, theft, and speed up the process of approval for everybody?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And right now it's, if lenders and dealers were on Facebook and they were in a relationship, a lot of times it would be, it's complicated. But I think the advent of all this fraud is going to speed up the relationship together, because, really lenders look at dealers and they want to partner. Dealers look at lenders, they want to partner. And it might not even be over the next 2 to 3 years with how quickly things are moving with fraud. It's going to accelerate the partnership between dealers and lenders. And I believe they'll come together. And in my mind, easier said than done, but it's bringing data into the transaction. It's bringing technology into the transaction, and making sure the dealers and lenders are on the same page when it comes to data and technology.
Yeah. So give us one actionable takeaway for dealers watching today, something they could do today or tomorrow to improve funding speed, minimize risk, and expose fraud in that process.
Yeah. And so, I watch this show a lot, and this platform's done a great job of highlighting some of the really awesome work that people are doing in the dealership space. Exactly what I said. It's the embracing of technology and the embracing of data, the progressive mindset, the advancement of technology, inside a space, a dealership space that, previously, maybe you don't think as a very technology friendly space. I think dealers really have to embrace technology and embrace data. The lenders will reward it, and the consumers will reward it as well.
Yeah, and see, my own take is in this space in particular, there's so much potential for fraud, and we get taken advantage of as dealers by people wanting to steal our stuff. Anytime we can have a tool that helps slow that down, minimize it, or reduce it, that's awesome. And even more so when it eliminates it and it's more or less automated. I think the future of automotive is going to be that relationship between a dealer group and an awesome lender that's willing to go all in together. And we as a group protect the lender, and the lender in turn trusts and protects us. And automation just helps do that, right? I don't know if you have any closing thoughts on that piece.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think you look at the lenders gravitating towards these big dealership groups where they have a strong relationship with dealer principals. It's an organization that's full of integrity and good culture. I think lenders gravitate towards that. That's the kind of partner they want. And like I said, dealers want to feel comfortable that they can go to those lenders. And it's got to be a very symbiotic relationship where both win. And I think you're exactly right on that.
So just as we go away, just another thought, given all the data you have access to and expertise, are you seeing average credit scores shifting up or down? What are you seeing right now in the marketplace? Because to some in finance offices and dealerships, it feels tougher right now. It feels like credit scores are going down. And if they are, what's driving that in today's economy?
Yeah, I think you're right in that assumption, right? And one of the cool things about working here at Equifax is, we're not just in the auto business. We're in the mortgage loans, personal loans. We deliver business and commercial data. We work with a lot of people, so we get to see a really big picture on what's going on in all different kinds of industries. So, total consumer debts up almost 3%. Outstanding balances on bank cards are up 4%. We're seeing more personal loans come through. And, even the severe delinquency rate on first mortgages is up, I think, about 15 basis points from last year. So the American consumer is stretched. It's a little bit scary. From all these lender and auto industry conferences and meetings we go to, affordability is the big issue. And so, yeah, it looks like, there may be a bubble that's about to pop, right?
Yeah.
People are stretched, and what do dealers and lenders do about it? We might find ourselves in a situation, like we did very much in 2020 when things changed significantly there with vehicle prices and credit, where, lenders have to change their thresholds, and we see a new normal.
So looking at the news headlines from today, Ally and their employee cuts, what do you make of that? Is that a canary in the coal mine for what you're more or less kind of foreshadowing, or does it have something to do with something else altogether?
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I don't want to comment on my friends over at Ally, but that could just be a sign of the times, of the world in which we live in, where public companies have to make changes and to improve profitability and stock price. I don't know that was. I wouldn't call that a canary in the coal mine just yet. I'd look more towards the DPD rate on 60. That could be a canary in the coal mine.
Tell us about that.
So that's up in some spaces that we don't like, obviously within the subprime space, but starting to see that creep up in the prime space as well. And so all the trends that we're seeing as an industry right now outside of auto, when you look at some of those indicators, they start to worry me. I'm hoping that with some of the interest rates coming down, maybe some people are able to dive into some of the equity that they have in their homes. Hopefully we start to see HELOCs and home loans go up. People might be able to take some of that equity and pay off some of their personal loans and high
So-
marks on their credit cards.
So rates are coming, or the Fed rates coming down, but auto loan rates aren't necessarily
rates.
following just yet. Yeah.
Fed rates are coming down. Those used and new car rates. I think people, when we educate the everyday consumer on what those average interest rates are, when we have internal meetings here and we talk to some of our teams that aren't immersed in the business like we are, and we tell them that the average interest rate is 15% on a used car, or nearing double digits on a new car. The average car price is $50,000 for new, and approaching $30,000 for a used car. It surprises some people, and I don't see it going the other way anytime soon.
Well, Will Holleman, automotive sales at Equifax. We absolutely appreciate being on the show, sharing your perspectives and all the wealth of information you have from Equifax. So thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah, pleasure to join you guys. Thank you.
It's an interesting conversation. I just get so fired up over theft, like income, valuation, the whole thing. Lenders and dealers should be able to better utilize technology to completely eradicate it. And, I don't buy the friction piece that we don't want to bother customers, because if it's automated, it should be more of an automated process. Fair? So
yeah, I took the friction piece as he was insinuating maybe a little more friction on the dealer side.
yeah, like dealers don't want it as much, but
Yeah.
why? I didn't hear that part. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I always got frustrated when you're dealing with someone that doesn't know how much money they're making. They give you your net instead of the gross, and then you got to go through the whole rigmarole of getting that income verified. So this could be a great tool to avoid that.
Automate it. Yeah, automate.
Yeah, automate it. Exactly.
Take away the entry. Like, don't make me as a salesperson the bad guy because I got a number from you, the customer, and it's wrong. Like, my own experience back when was like customers would usually understate it. I don't know if that's flipping today. Good comments online. Dan C says only a 2% reduction of staffing at Ally. Sounds like just like getting lean, which I think is probably true. And it may be some more automated piece, right? They're getting some benefit out of automation. Yoga Car says 10-year treasury yields need to come to get auto loan interest rates down. And we are seeing that, right? Dan C says, and I like this comment, Dan's a favorite person now. So you say that because you come from an organization with a strong culture. Thank you, Dan. We appreciate that. 50 years, Ziegler strong is what we're going to say. All right, next up, let's on that. Devin Kaulback.
Devin,
hey guys,
to the show.
Thank you.
Hey, before I ask you our signature question of, who are you and what do you do? Or rather, the signature question is, how's biz? Tell us a little bit about who are you? What do you do? Where's your background? Where's your stronghold right now?
Yeah, so my name is Devin Kaulback. I'm the GM here at Subaru of Niagara. We're part of the Willowdale Automotive Group. We represent 5 different brands. We're in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada.
Very nice. And how's biz?
Biz is good. We've been rocking. We were a newer store 13 years ago. We're coming up to our 13-year anniversary, and we're no longer the new guy on the block. We've been doing very well.
Well, quantify that for us. Where'd you come from? Where are you at now?
Well, I mean, when we first opened, we were a brand new open point. Subaru was in the Niagara region 20-ish years ago, and then they left. And our owners were trying to get it back, and Subaru said, "There's no chance in how we're coming back." And they went back and forth. Basically, took 20 or 30 no's, and we got the franchise back in 2012. Went from 280 new vehicle target. We had like 8 employees to now retailing close to 1,300 cars a year, and we have 40 employees.
Wow, that's great. Hey, listen, you recently implemented Drive AI, right? What was the biggest operational change that this created?
So Drive AI is a Canadian company. It's by Unleashed Technologies. And it, look to book has always been something talked about for the last 10 years. And I know a lot of people are now looking that more important than look to book is how many appraisals are you doing per month? And everyone talks about doing the service drive and working the service drive, but if you've actually done it, it's really hard to do, and you can only take so many no's a day. Drive AI technically does 2,000 appraisals per month of my database and knows my service customers coming in and appraises their vehicles on its own. There's
And how's that message get relayed to the customer?
So they get either a text message or an email based on their preference. There's two different ways that it can be sent to them. Either it will be an appraisal value of what their vehicle's worth, or it will be an upgrade my ride and show them what a new payment is on a like vehicle with their trade factored in.
That's great. And who do you have pushing the buttons or pulling the levers in-house for this, or is it completely automated?
So it is automated. It's basically kind of like running a private sale every month. There is 8 different campaigns that go out through SMS and email. But I also kind of champion it. I oversee it. And, our sales, we're selling 20 to 30 cars extra per month. Over 70% have trades just from this program.
Now, are you able to buy a lot of vehicles out of the service drive as well?
You know what? It's not as big of a thing in Canada, at least within our Niagara region. Normally people that are getting rid of the car are buying something new. But the whole idea with the program is, I didn't think it was going to sell cars for me, but I thought it would start the conversation that people are having at their dinner table earlier, and is like moving up their buying cycle, which we've seen.
Sam, are you using any of this type of technology in-house in the Ziegler Group?
Across different rooftops, we are. Not this particular one. I don't think we use Drive AI inside additional rooftops. I am curious, though, Devin, do you guys wholesale vehicles that make it across the border into the U.S.? To our earlier interview.
No, we do not. That's not something that we get involved in whatsoever.
Are you
like way back in the day, we had a customer that wanted us to buy a vehicle from like, I think it was like New York or something, and it wasn't imported in Canada yet. And I attempted to do it, and I said, "There's no chance I'm getting this."
Yeah. So your store is one of the strongest performing rooftops for Subaru in Canada. You're one of the best of the best. What gets you there? And you probably do these cross-border meetings, Canada and the U.S. Among Subaru OEMs. What would you love for U.S. dealers to know about the difference between Subaru or just auto retail in Canada versus the U.S.? What could dealers learn in the U.S. from Canada?
Good question. So last year I did NADA, and I was in a class with all U.S. dealers. Definitely the scale in the U.S. is like 10 times the Canadian market. So, I mean, you guys do, volume. We do a totally different approach. We don't do spot delivery, same day deliveries. We actually sell a vehicle and get the customer comfortable with selling or with buying the vehicle. Normally, we don't have the new vehicle in stock. It's a lot of incoming pipeline sales.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then we actually have the customer come back when the vehicle is close and hopefully ready to start getting excited of when they're picking up the car, and then that's when they meet with finance.
So you've been selling into an order pipeline for a long time. U.S. dealers have only been learning about that through COVID. Was there any shift for you during the COVID period where did availability become even less as you had to order?
Yeah, we've always been very rarely, if we retail and deliver 90 new cars a month. I have 34 cars in stock, 34 new cars. So it's a lot of pipeline stuff that we've been doing, and that's been for the last 13 years. There was one point in 2022, we had just under 400 pipeline sold cars that we were waiting on.
Wow. That's crazy. What's one thing that you hear from the U.S. as a best practice, maybe on this show or maybe at a 20 group or in the OEM where you're like, you know what? It just doesn't quite work here in Canada like that. That wouldn't work here, or it doesn't work here.
Yeah, the spot, like the same day delivery stuff that goes on. I mean, for a customer to go to a bank, get the bank draft, get funds released, investments, whatever, and then to get insurance in Canada, then to get licensing, you're not doing the same day delivery. It's just it's. I'm sure there's some dealers that attempt to do it, but it would be a process nightmare.
And what is it that's stopping that? Is it just culturally there's not that same expectation for that speed to delivery, or is it just what's creating that slower process? Is it Canadian nice? Is that what it is? It's just a little slower.
Yeah, I think there's something there. We don't have any deals cancel or deals blow up.
That's going to be my next question. How many people cancel?
Yeah, nothing like that. I guess we've done a very good job training the customer of what to expect. And I mean, setting expectations is kind of part of the job, right?
So what's a dealer's perspective on tariffs that we hear about so much in politics today? You're our friends across the border. When you hear about that, do you kind of roll your eyes? Do you see the purpose behind it? What's your take on it?
Well, it's totally impacted us. I mean, the Outback, the Ascent, our wilderness models all were made in the U.S. So we haven't been getting any of those vehicles since April. So it's had a massive impact on our business, about 30%. So it's impacting us just as much as it is everyone else. And when that happens, you don't know what the impact's going to be right away, and then you got to obviously pivot very quickly.
Yeah. Is the Subaru love promise similar Canada versus the US? We're a Subaru dealer. We've got a store in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We've also got a store there in Lafayette, Indiana, just right by where so many of the Subaru models are built here in the US. And it's a very different way of selling cars. They focus on the love promise. They focus not on payment, but on safety, security, and really providing a great experience. Is it similar? Is it different? Where do you see the similarities and departures?
So definitely similar. And recently one of Subaru of America's executives has now joined Subaru Canada. But Subaru Canada is so his name's Aaron Weisel.
Okay.
So Subaru Canada's slogan or like mission statement is "Welcome to Uncommon." So that's what all their marketing and messaging is across Canada.
Interesting. So that's fascinating that they actually have a different tagline and slogan, even though all different North American dealers. What do you think drives that different approach, even though we're so close? We're only separated by a small, not well-guarded border, right? You could probably walk across it.
I mean, I can be like from my house, I can be in the US in like 10 minutes. But why is it different? I don't know. I mean, there's things that we do and kind of feed off each other, but more of like a brand identity within the Canadian market to kind of separate ourselves. I think that's the idea.
Are you a Toronto Blue Jays fan? What's your take on the World Series? That was crazy.
That was a heartbreak. I was 5 years old when they won in '93. So being able to kind of be right there and 2 outs away from winning it, it was heartbreaking. Yeah.
Did you go to the game?
No, tickets were insane. I tried to get tickets and I was like 260,000 in queue. So I don't think I was going to.
Oh my, 260,000. That's insane.
Yeah.
Is it StubHub? Taylor Swift might have an issue with that too. So
yeah, no, that was right on the Blue Jays portal. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's nuts. Well, hey, a comment from David Thomas. He says 30% volume of units aren't coming through due to tariffs at all. That's astounding. David Thomas, maybe one of our vendor friends. True?
Yeah. So the Outback and the Ascent, obviously the Ascents are 7-8 passenger. The Outback has been a staple within the Subaru lineup for years. And that was, if we're selling 90 units a month, that was about 25 to 30 vehicles that we're no longer getting. So, we're having to extend leases and kind of pivot customers to something different. The good news we've weathered the storm for the last 7 months or so. The 2026 Outback for Canada is being made in Japan, and it's about 3 weeks away.
Yeah, and that's a positive, right? The way the tariffs work.
That's a huge positive. It's going to be that car can't come soon enough.
That's interesting. So for us, we want it built here. For you, you want it built in Japan. Is that an unintended consequence of the administration's tariffs?
Yeah, I don't know obviously they had to do something, because the Outback was like our, almost second best seller within the model
bread and
lineup.
butter.
And I know the Forester for the U.S. market is now being built where the Outback was being built in the U.S. So there's definitely been some pivots. Dan C
says, sounds like very little new vehicle floor plan assistance costs for Devin because you're not stocking as many. Does Subaru offer floor plan assistance in Canada for dealers?
Yeah, it's for sure. If you're doing it right, you're selling into your pipeline. It's a profit center for us.
Yeah. Well, Devin Kaulback, GM of Subaru Niagara, we appreciate you being on the show. How's your view from your side of Niagara Falls, by the way? That's a pretty cool place, yeah?
Yeah, most people know that we got the nicer falls there. So
You do, yes. I have heard that many times. So, Devin Kaulback, we appreciate you being on the show. Thanks for joining us and sharing your perspectives. And Blue Jays next year. But what a playoff game that was for anybody that was there. Yoga cars. Just to support what you said, view from Canada is better. View from Canada is better. So thanks for being on the show.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
I love getting the perspectives from north of and south of. It'd be cool to hear from some Mexico dealers of different OEMs, because there are such differences. I got that opportunity to go speak to Lexus dealers in Toronto many months ago. And there are parts of how we do business that are uncomfortably fast for them, I think, right? The idea,
for sure,
to his point, of walking in, buying the car, having a spot delivery or whatever same day, it just doesn't exist. And I'm fascinated by that. In fact, we should have asked him another question about digital retailing and just kind of Amazon, because do people in Canada want to be able to buy it that fast? Is there a greater push for digital retailing there or less? Because it feels more human touch. I don't know if that's true. Do you get that take, Yuli? I don't know.
Yeah, the first thing that I thought of was how many deals blow up, right? Because that would happen here left and right. And he said it's non-existent. So I think maybe just culturally, the customer is accustomed to a different level of speed. But who knows if there's that need.
Yeah, it's fascinating. All right, well, Yuli, great show today. It was fun to hear about all the different things. I'm going to go look into CRs. I got to figure that thing out a little bit, understand how predictable all that is. But we look forward to seeing everybody Friday. To our loyal listening audience, thanks for watching the Daily Dealer Live. We break down the biggest moves in the car business as they happen. Don't forget, we're here live every Monday, Wednesday, and we'll be back Friday, November 7th. So if this is your world, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on those notifications so you never, ever miss a beat. And we'll see you next episode, everybody. Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks, guys.